Hello, everyone. GM. Welcome back to another episode of Overpriced JPEGs and the NFT Catcher Pod. If you're confused, it's probably because you're not watching us on YouTube right now, so you don't realize that I am here with what I've been told to refer to as His Highness Michael Keane. Wow. And Jenny from the blockchain. I will let them intro to their audience, but for all you Overpriced JPEGs listeners, hello, welcome. I am joined by these two to help us break down the NFT market of the last week or so and chat for this week's recap episode. So thank you all for hanging out with me for this one.
Yes.
Love it.
And to all of our listeners on the NFT Catcher podcast, this is a collaboration episode with Carly from the Overpriced JPEGs. We both do NFT recaps, and so we figured, you know what, why not come together and create the ultimate collab episode where we all, do a recap together on what's happening in the NFT space. So that's that. Also, you can see us if you want to actually see us. I know we never do video. So over on YouTube, what is the YouTube channel? Like, where can people find
Bankless. YouTube, I think it's like literally youtube.com/Bankless.
Okay, perfect.
We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, go on Bankless. You can see their beautiful faces.
I forgot we were being recorded. I forgot we were being recorded until you just said that. So I gotta remember.
Oh, great.
Yeah, can't roll your eyes. Don't stick your tongue out, Michael, or pick your nose.
Oh my God. People can see our
careful.
face.
Well, we've got an awesome episode. I mean, we're talking Space Doodles. Invisible Friends was a big drop. I've got a couple projects I'm into that I want to mention. I'm sure you guys do too. Do we want to kick off though with just like high level, kind of macro? How y'all feeling about the market this past week? You bullish? You think we're gonna enter a bear market? Like, where are we? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird spot for sure. There's so much coming out. You have to sift through a lot of bad stuff, a lot of garbage to get to the really good ones. There's still great stuff happening. There's still money to be made, and there's still really cool things happening, but it's pretty saturated. Like some of the ones that were super, super hyped kind of fell a little short. I mean, it's also a buying opportunity for some things. Some of the blue chips are down a little bit, but it's hard to tell exactly where it's going to go. Where's the world going right now? It's, so it's a weird spot. So I think people are a little tiny bit hesitant. Just be careful, be careful with what exactly you're buying. Cause you just gotta be careful. All the derivative projects. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was joking last week. I was talking to Zeneca 33 last week, who was on the show, and like there were, I think like 6 or 7, maybe it was a little bit less than that, but projects that had been like top in volume over the last week's like previous week that I literally didn't know about.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, it feels like it's just getting crazy. And like 3 of them were cat projects, it's like tubby cats and, and so that's sort of a strange position that I feel. Jenny, what about you?
You know what? I feel like I have mentally prepared for all of my JPEGs to go to 0. If worst case scenario happens, like I'm mentally prepared. I've been thinking about like, when is the top of this cycle? Like, are we still going? Like, are we entering a bear market soon? Like, what's happening? Yeah, I think about that often. And, it's not like I'm trying to scare people or anything, but it's like, we could be at the start of a bear market. Who knows? Like, I don't really know, but I'm always kind of thinking about that. I mean, I've said this before, but it's like watching my Top Shot account value go from 200K all the way down to 50K. It's like, you kind of are like, okay, I need to know that if things go up like a crazy amount, that they can also come down a crazy amount. So just kind of reminding myself that, prices, especially with crypto and NFTs, they're always volatile. And it's like, just kind of, keeping that in mind, like, I don't really know what's going to happen, or, okay, we have seen a lot of projects decreasing in value across the board a bit. We've seen a lot of crazy things where it's like, okay, people are clearly just trying to make, some quick money here. I don't really know what's about to happen, but I am just like mentally prepared for whatever. I haven't really been buying too much, although I've been putting some WETH offers on fungi because I'm addicted.
So I was going to ask, have you guys bought anything this past week, for example? Like, I feel like you guys both are better at like kind of degenning than I am. Like, I'm not like every week I'm buying into stuff. I feel like you guys are like better at that than I am. What's your week been like?
I know. I was like looking through my activity. I put a ton of offers on fungi. I was just trying to lowball, see if anyone wanted exit liquidity. And I mean, I haven't really bought much. I wrapped my space doodle. You know, you had to pay, I don't know, it was like $50 to do that or something. I wrapped my doodle, to make it a space doodle, which was kind of fun. But then I'm like, oh, now I have to unwrap it and pay more money to unwrap it. So I'm just going to leave it as a space doodle for now. But yeah,
did y'all see somebody sold their space doodle not realizing?
Yeah,
that means they were
a bunch of people.
Doodle.
Didn't a bunch of people do that?
That's one of those moments where I'm like,
this is sale. Yeah, it was like,
yeah, they lost. Like, yeah, they sold it for 5 ETH. Is that what you just said? Or did they sell it for 7 ETH?
Let me look. The lowest, the very first sale was a 5 ETH sale, which it's like, and then there was a 7 ETH sale after that, and then a 9 ETH, and then there were normal looking sales where it's like, okay, this is similar to the price of actual doodles. But yeah, it's like people are thinking that this is a separate NFT when really it's just you're wrapping your doodle. So like if you were to sell your space doodle, you're also selling your actual doodle. Like,
yeah, this was a non-dilutive way to expand the doodle collection without actually like you can express yourself in different ways, but you're not actually getting an additional doodle.
Right.
Do you think if you buy the person who bought that doodle for like 5 ETH or 7 ETH or whatever, who clearly preyed upon somebody who like had a misunderstanding, do you think they should return it?
I mean, that's the moral thing to do. That's the thing you'd like to see in the NFT space. But like, I mean, how about the apes that get sold for 1 ETH and and then
they've clearly been stolen.
Right. Yeah, they've been stolen and someone flips it. Right. Or whatever. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you'd like to see that happen, but yeah, somebody is definitely praying. They saw it. They knew what they were buying.
Yeah. I feel like if that was me, I feel like it depends like who you are. If nobody knows you, you're anonymous and you buy one, like you're probably fine. Like no one's going to give you shit. But like if one of us like bought it for 5 ETH, like we get a ton of backlash and people are like, you need to return that and blah, blah. And it's like, oh, well, damn, like I thought I was just, why do I have to return it? Like you don't, but it's like, yeah, if you're trying to be nice, then like, okay, maybe you sell it back to them, for the amount you paid.
You mentioned,
I do believe in karma. I'm like,
karma,
I don't know. Come on, get your own, make your money honorably or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned Zeneca. He actually had a really, really good tweet. I'm a big fan of his. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Super smart. He had a really good tweet about just that. He said if he bought it, he would only do it just to give it back to the person at the cost. Just to make sure no one else did it. Like, he basically said at the end, like, do what allows you to sleep at night,
Totally.
And
totally.
Yeah. So,
let me ask one question before we get into the rest of our, call it regularly or, pre-planned programming, call it, in terms of the projects we wanted to talk about. You mentioned fungi and you're putting some bids on there. Can you tell me like why you like that project? Like give folks who don't know about it.
Yeah, we had one of the founding team members, Henry, on, and he was awesome, to interview him and everything. But I just think, first of all, the art is super cool. Basically, they're these animated, really, really great graphics, like these animated like fungi that are like just walking around as little shroomies, and they're just so cute. And also, I just really like what they're doing. So they've already given a couple airdrops to holders, which are just like these like cute little, just more fungi. And I already am like obsessed with the art. So I'm just like, oh, these are awesome. And then they have some really cool, like different types of things that they're doing that I haven't seen any other projects doing. Like there's this whole concept of conjuring, where it's like, somebody with like a Genesis shroom has to like start this summoning circle, and then like I think up to 9 shrooms can join in, and then you summon a nightshade, and then somebody has to sacrifice their shroom for it. Like it's just this like whole thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, I guess they could just pretend that they're going to do that, but then not actually. But they've already delivered on a lot of things that they said they were going to do, and so yeah, I do believe the team is capable of doing a lot of things, and they have a gaming background. So They're really trying to gamify this as well. And, they were the first, how Invisible Friends is like, oh, the walking things. Well, they were like the first like walking things, but theirs actually looked like really, really good quality.
It has, what are the vibes? It gives me, Lord of the Rings. There's like a Lord of the Rings, like the Hobbit. Like it's like it has this like hanging out in the Shire vibe to them that I think is kind of fun.
Yeah,
cool.
They're funny.
Our community actually got really into it. Jennifer mentioned it a couple times, and our community like really caught on to the fungi also.
Yeah, sorry not to get everyone into the non-fungible fungi, but like I just think they're so cool. Yeah, and I'm like, I keep putting wheat offers. I'm like, who wants exit liquidity? Come on. Like low
what are they going for right now? What's floor?
So the floor has been like lowering a little bit every single day. So I'm like kind of like, okay, what are they gonna bottom out at? Like how low are they gonna get? Right now, I think I just checked like 0.12, I want to say the floor is. So I'm like, I've been putting like 0.1 WETH offers on stuff, because then it's like if you do a WETH offer, then you don't have to pay gas. I'm like,
smart. Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip.
Polygon is Ethereum's largest and most vibrant scaling solution to date. With millions of monthly users and all of the biggest DeFi apps, the Polygon ecosystem has turned into a blossoming metropolis of DeFi activity. Transactions on Polygon are quick and cheap, allowing users the freedom to achieve their DeFi goals, all while being economically anchored to Ethereum. But Polygon isn't just the proof-of-stake sidechain. The Polygon team is building a suite of scaling solutions, including Polygon Hermes, Maiden, Nightfall, and Zero, all with different design choices in order to be optimized for all possible crypto use cases. If you're a developer who wants to build on the Polygon ecosystem, go to the link in the show notes to check out their fantastic documentation. And if you're a user who just wants to experience fast and cheap DeFi, you can bridge over your ETH or other tokens and start playing around with any of the thousands of applications that are available on Polygon. Everyone is talking about the metaverse these days, and we're all still trying to figure out what it actually is, because everyone is looking for how to get exposure to it. That is why a metaverse index fund is so important, because in such a young market, an index can give you broad exposure to all the various players who are building out all these digital worlds that will ultimately become the metaverse. And that's why you should check out the Metaverse Index from the Index Co-op. The Metaverse Index gives you simple, easy, and safe one-click exposure to the emerging open metaverse trend. The MVI Index contains some of the biggest metaverse projects out there, including Axie Infinity, Decentraland, Illuvium, and more. So join thousands of holders who have already trusted nearly $50 million to the MVI Index. And if you buy $500 of MVI on the Dharma app, you can receive $50 worth of ETH on the Polygon network. There's a link in the show notes for you to click so you can get started on your journey into the metaverse.
Okay, Invisible Friends. Do y'all own any?
No.
No, we didn't get in. Did you get in on the whitelist?
No. I have friends who did, but not this gal. I had a friend who got in, was on the allow list. I guess sold his pre-reveal for 9 ETH and bought a cool cat.
Damn.
I was like, that was a good move.
That's a great move. That's a great move. Yeah, the floor's at 5.5 now. That was a tough one. There's only 5,000 of them, so that's a really low quantity compared to a lot of these projects.
Totally. It's a little lower than I was expecting. I was kind of wondering, would this be like, I guess we're all now forevermore going to be like, will this be an Azuki play? Not like the next Azuki, right. I don't think it's a replacement, but like, will this be the next project that somehow doesn't have this like sort of significant post-reveal dip?
I feel like Azuki was like one of the only projects I've ever seen like actually pump post-reveal. Because I think, didn't the beans get up to like 5 ETH, I want to say, or something like that?
Yeah.
And then it was like
it dipped for like half a second. It was truly you could count in minutes the post-reveal dip, and then it was just like whoop, like straight up.
I think people were pleasantly surprised by the art, and I think anime hadn't been done super well before, and I think people just kind of latched onto that, and they're like, whoa, this is cool. A lot of people are into anime, so yeah, Azuki did good with that. And I still see people with Azuki profile pictures on my timeline. So
the Azuki actually kicked off a whole anime like genre of projects. There's a whole Souls and all these other ones that have been coming. But Azuki, they peaked up at about 18 or 19 ETH, and they're down to 8.399 right now.
Oh, they're 8? I thought they were still at 10. Last I saw it was 10.
And they were at 14 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to get one. I'm watching. Like, somebody told me some really good things. Like, they're supposedly going to really have a nice ecosystem to them and airdrops and this and that. That's going to be valuable theoretically. I don't know what the bottom is, but I mean, like I was looking at 12, 11, 10, and I'm still watching like 8.399. It's really I mean, I wouldn't
getting tempting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say affordable, but like it's it's
affordable for Michael, our resident whale.
I don't know
our resident whale.
Yeah.
So I literally interviewed somebody yesterday. It wasn't planned as an interview, but I was like, actually, maybe I record this. I haven't put it out yet, but I might. I literally, Zeneca, I asked Zeneca, last week. I was like, dude, who do you know that can explain to me why Azuki like broke all the typical patterns? Like, I just need somebody to like spell this out for me. And he was like, all right, I got you the guy. So I hopped on a call yesterday, and I was like, well, shit, like why don't we just record this? We can put it out because I'm sure other people feel that way. Like,
for sure.
Why the fuck is Azuki? And I don't want to like spoil the ending so that nobody watches that interview, but like it was sort of like what you made the point about like anime. I mean, you had Oni One Force and you had the Sevens. You had a little bit of this last year, but it didn't manage to kind of stay anywhere. So it was like the first, it did capture an anime audience for some reason that felt disillusioned, I guess, by Oni Force, the others. So, and then I think your point, like that post-reveal art, people were just pumped about theirs and didn't want to part with them. And it's like, and then they had good timing. Like, it's sort of like there isn't like some crazy magic bullet that forevermore we're going to be able to pattern recognize and be like, that's the reason. Yeah. Which, like, of course there's not, but I crave that. I want that. I want that answer. That's like really
perfect timing. Yeah. Some things are just, what is it called? Like outliers, or there's another word for it. It's like anomalies or something like that. Like some things are just like, you know, it just, it's just like, it just happens.
I believe the Japanese market actually recently kind of started entering the market more robustly. And I think that's probably part of it.
Well, so I suggested that to my, who's now my resident Azuki expert. Yeah. I suggest that too, because I was like, hey, the Asian market also kind of was entering at the same time. And he was like, my sense is that actually Azuki's played a little bit more on like the American interpretation of anime. Like it actually did, like that the Asian market was still in there kind of doing Fanta Bears and Zipsies, and like there were sort of other projects, but that Azuki actually wasn't fully like an Asian anime project. I'm sure there was some of that, but he was like, it was actually more sort of like, it seemed like Americans. I was like, sort of like our like Chinese food, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily like Asian Chinese food. Yeah, it's our interpretation, like, you know, whatever, fortune cookies. Like that's that's not a thing in Asia.
What?
There's definitely like something kind of weird and racist there too, of like the fortune teller or something.
Right.
Okay, wait, let's talk about the opposite of Azuki's, which is Pixelmons.
Wow.
Oh God. Oh great.
Thoughts? Do you guys have Pixelmon takes?
I mean, it's just, I can't believe that they would actually go public with those images.
Let me just, in case somebody's been like living under a rock and like hasn't fully tracked this, let me just break this down. Pixelmon pitched itself as this like open world RPG NFT game that was coming, that's like very like voxel art style, and the like, you know, teaser images they were releasing really were like beautiful. It felt like this ethereal world you were going to get to enter, like sweet. People are like hyped up on that. And the founder, and this is where it gets really just shitty, was also like saying crazy stuff like, this is financial advice, like don't do your own research, like, which by the way, red flag. Like if somebody is telling you that, run from that project. Like that's God, such a terrifying thing to be saying to people. Anyway, and then like, and people spent like 3 ETH. It was a Dutch auction, I believe. Yeah,
it was a Dutch auction. It sold out right at 3 ETH.
3 ETH. Everybody buys in. $70 million raised.
70. That's really sad, actually. I mean, we're kind of laughing about it, but that's really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And the art reveal happens. Everyone has to have seen this by now, right? If you're listening to these podcasts, if you haven't, like you have, it's, and we'll get into the meme because like I'm obsessed with the Kevin thing. I think it's some of the funniest shit ever.
Really funny.
But we will say the sad thing is like, yeah, it's terrible art. It was literally art that he was buying off of like marketplaces where you could buy voxel images. Like it wasn't even original art. He was literally spending like $159, or the team or whoever it was, right, to buy voxel art and then just like make some tweaks to it to make it fit like their schema or whatever it is. really disgraceful. So there was one NFT that literally the art was missing in it. It was just the background. Like the character hadn't made it in the
Yeah, I
NFT.
saw that.
Like so disastrous, like Fire Festival level, horrendous.
Oh yeah, I saw the cheese with the Kevin on the cheese, like.
I wanted to be like, if you know, you know. If you guys remember that like iconic sandwich that came out of that became the representative of the Fire Festival debacle, which was like everyone was given like 2 slices of like crappy white bread with like American cheese and 1 slice of lettuce. People were like posting that with like the Pixelmons like on that bread. I have a thought I want to give on the Kevin front, but I don't know.
Please,
y'all. I'm assuming neither of you were
Kevin.
bought into Pixelmons, right?
We actually it was funny because I think it didn't the art reveal on Sunday, Michael, when we recorded, because I remember when we were like it was before Kevin even became super popular, and we were just like, oh yeah, we saw, and we didn't think people were going to be buying Kevin up, but we're just like, that's funny, like Kevin like looks hilarious. Next thing you know, starts, pumps all the way to what, 9 ETH floor or something. I don't know if there were sales at that. I know I saw a 7.5 ETH sale, but now it's all the way down to, I want to say like 2 point something or something like that. But
well, there was a sad, and I'll give my just why I love Kevin, but there was a I think then the Sinders, whatever the like project founder's name is, who was doing all the shady shit, like being like, this is the next blue chip, like this is financial advice. He was like, well, like the art reveal was unacceptable. Like we're like putting $2 million to like fix this for you, right? I'm like 2 million out of your 70 fucking million. Like, oh, so generous. Like the balls to like feel good about yourself offering $2 million out of your 70 million raise to fix what was like really, again, sad for anybody who bought in, especially if you know,
but there were signs from the beginning. I remember, NFT Ethics, which I think is a great follow on Twitter. They had a whole thread about Pixelmon, being potentially a rug and a scam before it even launched. So like the writing was on the wall. Like if people bought into that, I don't know, I didn't see it and think, oh, I should buy into this project. Like, I mean, maybe new people that got a little deceived because they don't really know like the how the standards or what is kind of more of like a cash grab type of thing versus like an actual good project. I don't know, but yeah, I saw a lot of people talking shit about Pixelmon before it even
signs were there.
Yeah,
I did a like NFT red flags kind of mini episode at one point, and one of them was like, if the project is claiming they will be the next Bored Ape or saying they are the next blue chip, like that is like legitimate teams don't feel the need to tell you that from the gate. Like that's weird, and it's literally what he was doing. Okay, I'm obsessed with the Kevin thing. I think it's hilarious. The threads of like people commenting being like, I would die for that, like I would die for Kevin. Like I love Kevin so much. And
there's like 98 Kevins, right? Like officially.
Yeah, there's a bunch, and it reminds me, it just feels like the perfect microcosm of the NFT space. And for some reason, the analogy that was popping into my head, which is kind of a dark analogy, but I live in New York City. I was here several years ago when there was some like IED, like homemade bomb that went off in Midtown, like outside of a deli. And luckily no one was hurt, but literally within like 30 minutes of this bomb going, like people like stepping over police tape and like craters in the sidewalk to like still just go to that deli. Like New Yorkers did not give a fuck.
My God.
Like if you're in a small town and a bomb goes off, like that's, traumatizing for like, but it was just this like perfect reflection of like New Yorkers and just like the shit we see on a daily basis. Like we don't even care. And I kind of felt that way about the Kevin thing, was just like, we don't take anything seriously. Like we're, a lot of very rich people here, and
we're immune.
We're immune, and by extension, people who have a lot of power and will only continue to have a lot of power in this world because money means power, and like. It's like nothing is sacred to us, and like everything can be a joke, and it just felt like this beautiful encapsulation of this space where it's like this ridiculous thing, kind of mildly tragic thing happens, and like within a day it's just like a meme, and we're like pumping this like meme into it's just, I think it's hilarious.
Meme culture. Never underestimate the power of
meme
culture.
Yeah, people were spending a lot for Kevin, and do you see the Time Magazine Person of the Year, Kevin?
Someone made that.
Someone made that. And my favorite one is of the Home Alone, the mom yelling, Kevin!
That's hilarious. Yeah, I missed that one too.
And then there was a ton of spin-off derivatives, like
lots of those,
a ton of people. Of course, right? Like it honestly smart. like to then make some type of, you know, derivative based off of Kevin. Of course, you know, you don't really have long-term intentions with that, but it's just like funny. And yeah, you can probably make a quick buck. Honestly, I was just thinking about this the other day. If you're, you know, just trying to make some quick money, like now's your freaking time, like launch your cash grab while people still like mint whatever. And, you know, people have no standards. So like, if you're going to launch some type of cash grab scam, now's your time. Like, I don't think this time period is going to last for much longer where, you know, you can kind of just launch whatever and like, you know, you can sell out and, you know, just random people are just made into millionaires instantly. Yeah, it's pretty crazy actually, if you really think about it.
Yeah, I'm personally being really patient with what I'm minting. Because of that reason. Like, you know, we've talked about it on the podcast before. There's some times where it's time to be aggressive and everything's doing really well. And there's other times where, you know, take your time and, you know, wait till you get the feel that something's going to be really good. Sometimes even afterward, maybe you pay a little more, but you get a real project.
It's the Warren Buffett, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. You know, things feel all greedy. They've calmed down a bit, but things were feeling really greedy and there's still a greed feel in the air.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, be fearful, be fearful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of sort of, again, I'm now back and forth from the opposite of this to the opposite of that. I don't know if you guys have been tracking Starcatchers at all. I kind of want to get, if you have, or kind of want to get your like thoughts on like Wonder Pals versus Starcatcher, because I feel like these are kind of similar.
I don't know much about either. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts because I feel like you kind of looked into it.
Yeah, I can give them. These were also kind of, I feel like, popular projects of the last week. Mm-hmm. Very similar art styles, very kind of cutesy in that cool cat vein of art, which I know that clearly a lot of people end up gravitating towards that. For me, I'm like, another one of these, like it's hard for me to kind of distinguish one
I
from
feel
the
you
other.
On that. Yeah.
You know, so I don't tend to, like I didn't mint either. I haven't been like, dieharding for either. I will say what caught my attention with the Starcatcher project is they basically have like a vesting schedule for their founding team. So the revenue, like 35% of the revenue that's going to the founding team is getting locked up. And there's, first of all, a year cliff, so they can't touch that until they've been with the project for a year. And then after that, it's literally a 4-year vesting schedule. It's like being a part of a startup. And I thought that was really interesting and such a good signal that we're not a cash grab. I hadn't seen another project do that, or I haven't seen one do that. And it was like a very clear way to say, hey, no, we're in this for the long haul.
Right.
And I was curious if you guys had been tracking that or your thoughts on that or if you've seen other projects do it. But I think that could be a new interesting standard.
Yeah, I love that. And our friends at Penelope, Penelope's
Country Club? Carlini.
Okay. Yeah. Carlini, I want to get him on the pod. I just, we'll have to have him on sometime. But yeah, I know that like for them, it was like they did a whole, okay, everyone is working here for a year. Like everyone like signed like a 1-year contract at least, to be working on the project for 1 year. And it's like, just it's the little things like that where it's like, okay, they're going to be working on the project, for at least this amount of time. And it's like, it gives you a little more like reassurance that, they're not just going to disappear or, when the going gets tough, they just leave. So yeah, I love that idea though. And I hope more projects start doing that.
Yeah. I haven't heard that about Starcatchers. I think that is really cool. I think there definitely needs to be more transparency. Like before the drop, where's the money going to go? Is all the money just going to go to the founders' bank accounts, or is it going to go back into the community? Because it all can be tracked on the blockchain. So like they shouldn't be scared to say it beforehand. And Wonder Pals, I've actually seen a lot of people talking about that, and it seems interesting. I haven't, quote unquote, aped into either of them, but Wonder Pal seems like it has a good chance. It's actually got a solid floor. It's over half an ETH.
Yeah, I agree. They also seem to have some good partnerships. I think Betty tweeted out her Wonder Pals, and they have like, they have a Wonder Pal based on a creature NFT and a Wonder Pal based on a doodle. And I think, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think like they actually have kind of relationships with those projects,
Yeah.
They seem to have done a very good, just a solid like marketing job you know, and sort of tapping into existing communities in an authentic way. So I agree. I think I think both of them are interesting projects. I come back to like, with just the flood of information you're getting, like on the surface, I look at these and I'm like, I don't know how to differentiate this from a Cool Cat or from like a bunch of other projects that have like adorable, cute art.
Yeah, and it's the hot new thing. Like I always remind myself that next week there's going to be a new hot thing, and the week after that there's going to be a new hot thing, and there always will be. And there will be some that stand the test of time, but most won't. Most won't stand the test of time. No offense to any of the you know, even if they have the best intentions, like, you know, most startups fail.
I have a hard time buying into stuff that appreciates in value so quickly. Like, you know, the floor price going up like to 1 ETH or something in a day. It's like, honestly, I don't think I've ever spent more than 1 ETH on an NFT. Like I'm more of I try to buy in super cheap and then just hold on, because it's like, I don't know, I have a hard time like pulling the trigger, and I don't really have that much like capital to work with. So I try to just hold on to stuff mostly, but it's just like, yeah, like I don't know how people, you know, I think with the whole Kevin thing, it's like stuff that, you know, is only going to last a day, 2 days, 3 days. And then, you know, once the hype dies down, like you're going to just get caught holding the bag. It's like, I don't know how people actually make money trading and doing stuff like that, because it's actually really hard to successfully do.
Dude, I totally agree. And I've said this before, like I've had a couple of buys above an ETH and I'm the same way. I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, how can I part with like this much ETH? It's just, I definitely still have that mentality totally, where I'm like, it's hard, which is stupid, because a lot of like, well, no, I guess it's not necessarily, but like you do, a lot of the projects that are already, you know, some of the biggest gains come when you're buying something at 2 ETH, that then, you know, it'll go to 10 ETH. Like sometimes those projects, like I kind of want to buy a Cool Pet for like, I was looking at them and they're like an ETH and a half. I don't know what they're at now.
Are they? They're at an ETH and a half.
Yeah, they're last night they were like 1.35. I'm going to look right now, because I've been keeping my eye on that too. Yeah,
like that feels like the kind of thing that very well will probably go higher.
Yeah,
like Cool Cats is such an established project.
It's 1.25 right now. Cool Pets is down because, you know, they're having a little bit of tech problems. They're trying to work through it, and I'm sure they will. You know, like, and I keep reminding myself that the mutants sat at 3.5 ETH for a long time.
I was so close to buying a mutant at 4 ETH.
Yeah.
I bought a couple other things instead. And for so long, I was like patting myself on the back, like, that's right, Carly, like, it's fine, like, mutants haven't done anything. And then, of course, like, that weekend, they just, like, exploded, like, the Jimmy Kimmel weekend. And I was just like, God damn it. My boyfriend has given me so much shit for that. He's just like, hey, did you ever end up buying that mutant? I've been seeing mutants are doing really well. I'm like, stop it. Stop trolling me. Cool Pets have that feel, you know? Like, the
I agree, 100%.
has that community. It's like they have such a diehard base. Like, they've had some tech problems. It just feels more like an opportunity than like the start of the collapse of Cool Cats. You know, like they've done they've proven their ability to execute in other ways many a time. I should buy one.
I think that's the hard thing too. Like, if you believe in a project and you see it start going up, then you're like, oh my God, like I feel like I need to buy in. Like, right, that's that FOMO feeling. But then when the price starts to go down, a lot of people are like, it's like, oh, I thought you still believe in that project. Why do you suddenly not want to buy? Oh, because it's going down, and what if it goes to zero or something? And it's like, it's really just, it's like you have to buy when you're not supposed to buy when everyone else is buying. You're supposed to buy when nobody's buying, and they're they're kind of neglecting the project, and then you sell when, ideally sell when everyone's buying. It's like, you know, if you actually really believe in something, then, you know, the price decreasing should be a good thing, right? Like, you want it to be on sale so you can buy it at a lower price?
If you loved it at 5 ETH, you know, you should really love it at 1.
Yeah. And unless you think, oh, maybe it'll go to 0, but it's like, well, if you had that conviction, you know, in the beginning, then, you know, why don't you have that conviction when it's going down in price? But I think that's just like a mental thing that it's like a lot of people have to go through. And it's like getting over that barrier, and then realizing, oh, I'm, supposed to yin when people yang, and like, you're supposed to do
be
the opposite.
Greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy.
Right.
It's so hard in practice because it is so terrifying to buy when everything's dropping.
Right.
And nobody else is buying. It goes against all of our like human instincts to like go away from the crowd,
Right.
Any projects y'all are looking forward to or kind of keeping your eye on? What are your what's your...
Okay, well, there's a couple that I am excited about coming up. What's the one, I Like You, You're Weird? Have you guys seen that?
No.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's
called I Like You, You're Weird. ILYYW. They have a cool looking roadmap. They have a ton of engagement. It's actually minting on the 7th of March. I'm not on the whitelist, sadly, at this point, but I'm trying to. I think that's a cool one coming up. The one I'm keeping my eye on is Mxtter Architects. So they have like I read about it. It's hard to kind of explain, but they're like algorithmically based houses. So like the computer makes it, they don't have to create each one. And there are these like cool things. And then supposedly you could even like, if you want to end up building it in real life or whatever it is. But like you said, Josh was brought on as an advisor. So, it piqued my interest a little bit and started looking into it. And they don't have like a gigantic following yet, but they're just getting going. There's actually one more that I'm super excited about. Do you guys know Zain Gaziani? He used to work for Gary Vee.
No.
He's on Twitter, really good guy. And he's got this project coming out called Chippy's World. And it's only going to be like 3,000 pieces. And he's got a Discord going and he's really cool. He does some really unique things. I've been talking to him. That's one, we always say bet the jockey. And that's one where I think he's going to do a really, really good job. He does some really cool things. He turns his Discord off for the weekend. So people can kind of
go outside, go hang with your family stuff. Exactly.
And he just seems like a really good guy. And like, with so few of them, I'm going to try and invest pretty good in that one. Like it's one that I have a feeling about. Chippy's World. I really like him. And then I just keep the back of my head says one Gary Vee tweet about it, since they're buddies, like they communicate on Twitter sometimes, like one Gary Vee tweet will send it to the moon. You know how that happens.
That's some good alpha. I'm looking at it now. We'll share the link in the Discord again. Of course, always do your own research. Not financial advice,
right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Never. I people know I hate giving financial advice, or I hate like I always say like I'll tell what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, but
and then it's up to you to do what you want with that information.
Right. I really makes me uncomfortable to tell people. Like I have people in my real world that ask me all the time, "Hey, if I have $1,000, what should I buy?" Like
dollar cost into over a year. I don't know.
Right. I've bought 1,000 NFTs and probably like 100 of them are worth something. So
I've said this before on here. It really is like the VC model. Like NFTs are like VCs, right? Like you kind of, you just need one to hit, right? Because when they hit, they usually hit big, and then that covers all your losses. But most of them are going to be crap.
You're right.
And so it's like that's what a VC does. They bet on a bunch of early stage companies, and you just need one to go really well.
Yep.
How about you, Jenny? Do you have a couple that you're eyeing?
So I don't think I'm going to buy this. It's just, sometimes I just like to observe things. And so Tai Lopez, I don't know if you guys know him or any of our listeners know him. So he actually brought a huge wave of people, including me, into crypto in 2017, early 2018, during the local top at the time. But it was like, which is why I'm like, oh my God, is this a local top signal that he's launching a project? But anyway, he's coming out with his own NFT project. And I'm just curious to see if he brings in a new wave of entrepreneurs because, I don't know. I know he kind of, fell off of social media a bit the last couple of years, like just kind of living on his farm and everything, buying up a bunch of real estate and all that. But he's kind of making a comeback. His project's called Original Garage, like originalgarage.com. I was like watching his video. I'm like, damn, this dude, I remembered how good he was at like selling and like just like talking. But anyway, I'm just curious to see if he brings in another wave of entrepreneurs similar to like Gary Vee and I mean, Tom Bilyeu, he didn't really bring in too many people, but so yeah, I'm just
That's
like,
interesting.
you know,
I think I saw Nate Alex shitting on this.
Yeah,
also,
it's
I should ask, do you
tomorrow.
guys curse on your podcast? I realize I've probably dropped
we could curse,
every bad word on this one,
yeah.
because in my show I don't care, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of NFT people hate on him, but I just think about how he really brought a lot of people into crypto, and I feel like he might do the same for NFTs. Even though, his copy can be a bit cringe sometimes in the writings and stuff like that, but it's like
just that like hard sell marketing kind of guru guy.
Yeah, just like the ultimate entrepreneur type of thing, where it's like you know how he's posing in front of his Lambos and things like that, you know. But
what's the kind of pitch for the project? Is it like is it a utility thing?
It's a
where you're
social
in his,
club. He wants it to be like, oh, real world utility. So there's like 3 different tiers, and you know, really it's just like it'll be like access to his courses, mentorship calls, like things like that. So and then he's even he said he's like looking into buying up some hotels where it's like only NFT holders can come to it. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what he does with it. I mean, I'm just gonna kind of probably just watch it, but yeah, I am curious to see how that goes. It's tomorrow, like I said, so I'm like, I'll be watching.
So, and we're recording this Thursday. This will be Friday is when it'll come out. So it'll be a day.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He has 128,000 people in his Discord, and he's on the.
Wow.
Go ahead. Yep.
Well, I joined it yesterday, and I was looking it. So he has a whitelist, but it's kind of like a complicated process to get on it, and I was just like, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of his Discord and the whitelist process, but yeah, I mean, like I said, Tai got me into crypto, you know, a couple years ago, and so I'm like, you know, I do like him as a person. I think, yeah, he does some cringe things sometimes, but and he's also NFT Miami Week or whatever. What's that event called we're going to, Michael?
Yeah, NFT Week Miami. Yep.
NFT Week Miami.
Cool.
Yeah, he's speaking at that. So anyway, that's my any projects you're excited about, Carly, coming up, or like you're looking into?
I have a couple. They're like maybe weird ones in that it's like very atypical, which is kind of what I tend to be drawn to. Like I'm not like a good degen in terms of like your kind of standard necessarily PFP stuff. Like there's a project I think that's minting right now. I think it's open until next week, called Genomes DAO. And like this concept it's awesome. So it's basically 23andMe, but the problem with 23andMe, if you guys know like the genetic testing, you know, company that everyone's into, so they'll tell them you're from like this village in Scotland or whatever. They sell your genetic data to pharmaceutical companies, and that's like a big way that they make money. And of course, like none of us read the, I'm sure however many page, you know, disclosure thing you sign when you buy 23andMe, and of course, you don't see a cent of like your literal DNA, the most like fundamental thing to you, getting sold. You don't make anything off that. So this is basically inverting that process and saying they'll do genetic testing and they'll send you a kit. It works much like a 23andMe, except all of your results go into a locked vault that only you have access to, kind of similar to like an NFT wallet thing. And then if pharmaceutical companies want to access that data, they have to request a very specific query. They have to tell you what they're querying. They don't just get all of it. And then if you approve that, you get a cut of what they pay to access your data or to access your genes. So I've never done a 23andMe. I've always thought it was kind of interesting, but like never did it. Yeah. And so I love this because I'm like, this is a very like, you can make a little money off of if, you know, I can decide, I can get the info and I can decide if I want to sell parts of it. So they're doing an NFT drop that's live right now, where if you buy the NFT, you get one of these genetic testing kits to do the thing. And they also have a mechanism where if you give them permission, they'll do a couple like select queries on your results that will impact then how your NFT looks in the end. So like your NFT the visual look of it will be impacted by your like genetic data. So I think it's just interesting. I love these kind of interesting uses of blockchain. It's called Genomes DAO. It's genomes.io. We'll link to it. GENOMES. And they may have 2 sites. I'll make sure I get the right one because they have one like about sort of the NFT part of it and one just about their, you know, there's sort of a, you know, the NFT side of it. So I think that's cool. It's minting now. I'm talking to their team about kind of maybe other ways we can like highlight what they're doing. Because just broadly, I actually feel like strongly that you should be able to, if somebody's profiting from your DNA, you should also be profiting from your DNA.
Yeah.
That's radical. That's radical.
Yeah, right. It's all exactly. It's all these concepts that you're like, that should be so basic. How have we gotten to the point where that's not? And
I saw that on your list. I looked into it a little bit. It does look really cool. And I think they're even doing a more comprehensive, like your full genome rather than just like the little bits that 23andMe looks at, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't speak to like the technical science behind it, but they do. I know they say that on their website, and I've met them. They're definitely not lying. Where they're like, 23andMe does this like tiny little ultimately a tiny percentage of things, and ours is more comprehensive. And
it can even let you know if you're at risk for certain diseases and things like that.
Yep.
So they say.
Totally, which is awesome. I will say, like, I've actually done that. I have done some of those like specific genetic testing. So I've like family history of certain things that I need to know, like if I'm also a carrier for. And so this I think does have some of that built into it as well, which is great.
Axie Infinity is a game universe filled with cute, fascinating little creatures called Axies that players can collect as pets. Players aim to battle, breed, collect, raise, and build kingdoms for their Axies. There are and will be many varied gaming experiences for Axies, many of them having players compete with each other using complex strategies and tactics to attain top rankings or be rewarded with coveted resources. Others will have them complete quests, defeat bosses, and unlock in-depth storylines. There are countless unique Axies that players can collect with varying body parts and experiences. The Axie universe is a player-owned economy where the players can truly own, buy, sell, and trade the resources they earn in the game through skilled gameplay and contributions to the ecosystem. It's a digital nation where people come together globally with their Axies to play, earn, and live. Join the Axie revolution at axieinfinity.com/bankless. Unstoppable Domains is the #1 provider of NFT domains. With domains ending in .crypto, .x, or .nft, Unstoppable Domains lets you replace your long, complex wallet address with a human-readable address. Using Unstoppable, you can verify the ownership over your NFTs, log into Web3 apps, and join tens of thousands of people using them as their Twitter usernames. With Unstoppable Domains, you can have all of your crypto addresses registered to one single domain. So it doesn't matter where crypto payments are coming from or where they're going. By registering all of your crypto addresses to your Unstoppable domain, all of that is taken care of in the back end. Better yet, with Unstoppable Domains, you don't have to worry about gas costs or renewal fees because you own it. Buy your domain and you can show it off as your new Twitter username. So you can get your name for as low as $5 at unstoppabledomains.com.
A couple others I'm gonna throw out.
Yeah, please do.
Matter. I work with the team. I work with a team called Block who are doing this. I've mentioned it before on the podcast. It's led by Kai Turner and a designer named TM, who's amazing. And Kai is an art blocks artist. He's also the co-founder of Block. And he really designed the concept around Matter as an art blocks artist who loves art blocks, but is like, hey, there's other ways we can do something similar in a way that's a little bit more meeting artists where they are. So if you're an art blocks artist, you have to be very, you have to actually be kind of coding savvy as well. Like you have to be able to code to produce art for art blocks. This is generative art that based on like layers, so if you're an artist and you design in layers, you can input your layers into this sort of generative art algorithm that will then produce generative art without you having to like dealt with the coding side of things. So basically it's sort of like a we and a they thing, because I'm really not involved in it, but I do work with the folks who are doing it. They have their second drop happening. It's live right now with two artists, Waxbones and Rembrandt. Really talented artists. It's like a collaborative generative drop with the two of them. And proceeds fund a DAO in part that then gets used to invest in like up and coming artists and like, lift up artists who, maybe are out there working hard but not getting the recognition or, aren't famous yet or whatever. So very cool DAO component that benefits artists along with like just a cool concept to allow more artists to participate in the generative movement. And so I love it. Again, none of this is ever financial advice. I like to celebrate the work that I think is like interesting. And So yeah, check that out. It's Mxtter. The X sort of stands for a bunch of things, but there's this collaborative piece because all the drops we've done have actually been collaborations between artists thus far. So that's happening right now. Tartarus is the second drop there, and
there's an auction going on, ends in 21 hours. Current bid 0.38.
So every day for 14 days, there's a new piece every day that gets dropped, and if you bid on it and you win, you're a member of the DAO that determines where like this treasury goes, like which up and coming artists, whatever. But if you bid and you don't win, you get like this POAB proof of bid, like kind of thing. And then if you collect 5 of those, you get sort of like prizes and rewarded just even for bidding and being a part of the process, even if you don't win. So again, like lots really that's like geared around benefiting participants in the ecosystem, benefiting artists. Like there's a real ethos of that, which is awesome. So yeah.
Nice. It's dope.
Love it.
I don't know, folks. Anything else you're like interested in tracking, degenning on, researching?
I saw Smileverse was down to 0.9. I'm kind of watching the floor. I want to see what they bottom at. I may or may not try to snag one. I know Michael's a huge fan, and Andy, our producer, has some too. Yeah.
We're huge fans. That one again.
What do you love? What's your pitch for Smileverse?
Well, I met and I actually hosted a clubhouse room with Wahid and the team from Smileverse about a month before they dropped. So that's when I was first introduced. I mean, he's got an amazing story. He's 21 years old. He's from Afghanistan. He came to the US by himself at 16, and he's done collaborations with Supreme before. His art is super cool. Him and his team, Giovanni, and that one is one that I just know is doing really cool things moving forward. It got up to like 2.5 ETH, and then it's back down. Yeah, it's back down to 0.9 for whatever reason. It was a while. It was toiling at between 0.2 and 0.3, and that's when I was telling everybody I could, like, that's one that I really believe in. I still really believe in that long term. I think Wahid is going to be a star.
I love
his art is super like I was he tweeted recently like 4 different pictures of pieces. I don't know if they're like one of ones or if they're airdrop to holders or what the situation was, but like he really pays attention to detail. Like, it's crazy like how good he is with these pieces, and I'm just like, dang, like this dude's really good art. I don't know. Yeah, the smiles themselves look really dope, and then the art that I saw him do as well was like,
his one-on-one stuff. His one-on-one stuff goes for big money, and I saw that tweet also. He was like showing, I think he was showing like how it started, or like, and then like the updated version or whatever he was showing there. Yeah, that was cool looking though. But yeah, that's what I just have so much confidence in him and the team. They're always around. They're always on Twitter Spaces. And they keep doing cool things, and it pumps, and then it slows down for whatever reason in the lull. And that's one like that, for me, I'm pretty confident thinking that eventually it's going to be a 5 to 10 ETH project. Wow. I really think so. The reds are one of the rare ones. If you go through the collection, like Jenny said, the details are really good. Like it's just a cool character. They were signed by Time, them and Toy Boogers at the same time. So I think they're going to be putting out children's programming with these characters.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad I have known of it, but really never deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear all that. I will absolutely go do a little bit more deep diving on that, because I like everything you just said.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Wahid is the star, like especially like, you hear him talk and learn about him, and it's really inspirational. He's really awesome.
Are you going to South by Southwest, by the way?
I am.
I am too.
Figuring out the dates.
Going to the
what
Doodles.
Dates will you be?
Well, I'll be there. I think the March 10th through like the 15th. So you're
going like the early half.
Well, I'm not doing the actual like festival thing. I'm just going to like.
Me too.
If there's other like events that pop up and stuff, like I'm going to that. So
sweet. Okay, I have a couple of things I'm going to. Let's text. Do we text?
Yes.
We should text.
Let's do it.
I think we are.
And anybody listening in, if y'all are going to South by Southwest or any of the NFT events, come find us.
Yeah, hit us up.
Hit us up. But yeah, should we wrap this up or?
Let's wrap it. Thank you guys so much for you know, being open to this and hanging out. NFT Catcher fam, so nice to meet you. If you don't listen to my show, we haven't met. Really grateful to be here.
Yes, and thank you everyone for listening. The Overpriced JPEG listeners, the NFT Catcher podcast listeners, the Bankless YouTube watchers. Thank you all for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Catch you next week. Bye.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, head over to Bankless HQ right now to develop your crypto investing skills and learn how to free yourself from banks and gain your financial independence. We recommend joining our daily newsletter, podcast, and community as a Bankless Premium subscriber to get the most out of your Bankless experience. You'll get access to our market analysis, our alpha leaks, and exclusive content, and even the Bankless token for airdrops, raffles, and unlocks. If you're interested in crypto, the Bankless community is where you want to be. Click the link in the description to become a Bankless Premium subscriber today. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for in-depth interviews with industry leaders, Ask Me Anythings, and weekly roll-ups where we summarize the week in crypto and other fantastic content. Thanks everyone for watching and being on the journey as we build out the Bankless Nation.